So, follow up from last week. I promised that uh, I would do a quick check-in this week before we part our ways. And tonight, this is Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It's after midnight here. This is my last night with this little fella because he's leaving me tomorrow. And I had said that I'd just let you have one last look at him before he goes, and I think you'll probably appreciate it's worth the look, because I think even in the last 7 days, or since I checked him last, he really looks like a long-eared owl chick now at this stage. If you just look at the face, the facial disc, and just look at the formation of the feathering and just the architecture of the face, and the bright orange iris, and just how well, I think just how spectacular it looks against that bluey black kind of greyish kind of facial tone. His ear tufts are now perpendicular, very well developed since last week, and his down has really kind of filled out. His feathers or his wing feathers are growing. I'd say his feathering is beginning to come through. If you just look in kind of closely at his face, the down in the face is now beginning to form into that. I'm using the word like a hairy type surface. It's not the wrong word, not the right word. I beg your pardon. But it's just changing form, where the feathers are going to form around the face. So tonight is our last night. I know this sounds kind of, you'd be thinking, oh wow, kind of sounds a bit sentimental, but without meaning it to be like that. But I'm probably one of these people that I get attached. It's very easy to get attached to little creatures like these. I think when you're there with them from the beginning, I think it's impossible not to. And I know there's probably somebody might be saying, well, why on earth would you get involved in breeding birds or anything like that if you're going to have attachment issues? And it's not about it's a good point, but it's not about that. It is it's something kind of involuntary, you know. I mean, there is part of us as well that's able to reconcile that, separation from the bird that you really were with from day one. But it's not. I don't think it would be human not to kind of to feel something when you're, even though it's only 23 days. He was born on the 3rd. Today is what, the 26th is? 27, 26. It's only 23 days since it kind of came along. But it's not about that. It's not about the length of time. Isn't that true to life? It's not about the length we have with anyone, the length of time. It's about the quality of time. I probably feel a little bit more sentimental with these little birds because it hasn't been the easiest month. This month of April 2018, and they've been a really great deviation away from what has otherwise been a kind of a stressful month. But anyway, without going into that too much. Um, and it's just been really, it has, and I suppose I really mean this, it has been really exciting, um, to the point that I've probably bored you and sickened you for the last 3 weeks, because I am very conscious that I've kind of gone on ad nauseum for a while, but forgive me for that. It's something that I've kind of always looked forward to think, to think would I ever be able to breed them, and yeah, they turned out to be better than I expected. It was a better experience than I expected. Uh, Two lived, two didn't. Um, I heard an old saying that was used when I was a kid growing up, a very wise old saying, and the saying was, "Where there is life, there will be death," and that is very true. And I think if we can hold on to that logicality, when we appraise things that go wrong in nature, I think it helps us remove ourselves a little bit from the false notion that everything is going to be okay, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not, and that's the reality of it. But when it is all okay, and when everything goes okay and your birds are healthy, and that it is a really lovely, rewarding experience. I mean, just look at him there now. Yeah. I'm probably biased. I'm sure I am. I just think he's incredible. What I love about them, what I love about this breed, and I never appreciated it as much as now after these 23 days, is just how incredibly mesmerizing they are. There's something. It's I've always had a fascination for the long-eared owl, always. But I never had this kind of a close contact with them, even though I've had them for long-eared owls for many, many years. I can't even remember. But all the birds that I had, there weren't birds that I had close contact with. There were birds that weren't necessarily imprint birds. There were birds that I tried to breed unsuccessfully. So yeah, but I have a whole new appraisal and appreciation of them. It's amazing the amount of time I've spent with them over the last 23 days, and I think it's a memory that will stay with me for a while. Actually, not too sure what that's all about. I think it will, because sometimes when you're kind of on your own at night, and you're up kind of in the middle of the night, and if you can check little owl chicks, and you might be saying, why do I do this? And sometimes you have to be up next morning for college, and you're rushing and racing, whatever we get up to in life. We tend to be very rushed and stressed in life in 2018 around the world. Not that is the new reality. And when you're alone with yourself and you're hand rearing and feeding a little bird like this late at night or early in the morning, it kind of grounds you a little bit. I think it takes you out of that kind of chaos that as soon as you go outside your gates, we tend to meet sometimes. And I love that way that nature soothes me. I love the calming effect that it has. I think it's really, I understand, as I'm getting older, in my mid-50s now, so as I'm getting older, I really understand the kid that I was now as a middle-aged man. Because when I was a kid, I wasn't a kid that enjoyed being indoors playing games. We didn't have PlayStation or internet or anything like that when I was a kid. We made up games or whatever, and we played Snakes and Ladders or whatever. But I was never a kid for indoors watching television or playing Snakes and Ladders, or playing railway stations or whatever. I was a kind of an unusual kid looking back at it, in that I would spend all my time during the summer, there was a little pond at the back of the old house where we were born, where we grew up. Sorry. I used to swim with the little ducks in this pond, and I used to I trained myself to swim as a kid, I trained myself to sit on the bottom of this pond looking up at this world overhead. It's kind of, probably sounds like I was a weird kid. I wasn't really. Honestly, I wasn't. I was an individual kid. Or if I wasn't sitting at the bottom of a pond looking up at the world, ducks flying over my head, I could be climbing a tree, kind of just watching birds and listening to the sounds, and walking the bogs and taking in, I think, just the beauty of nature. And that was the one thing about where I grew up. I grew up in Galway, and it really was just a lovely, lovely place. Maybe our place feels lovely as we get older, when we look back on them. But it actually was. It was full of nature. It was full of sounds and smells and all those kind of things. Memories, those memories that kind of stay with you as you get older. But I can now look back on it and really understand that was my individual flair as a child, and I never lost it. And I lived in cities, and was gone for years away from country life, and went through all the crazy years, teens and 20s, and still find your way back to that connection that you have. And that's why it's so individual, and it's not something that we can easily explain. And all of us that are watch these clips and go on YouTube looking at nature and join forums like these or whatever, patrols, it's just a very individual thing about us, and I love it. A lot of people don't get it. People don't get it, and that's okay as well. So, I would never criticize anybody for not being able to understand it, because their experiences of life are held in some other dimension, something else. It's I come from a family of 5. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I don't think they've ever seen. I mean, my brothers would think this is insane. Yeah, they would actually. They would think that I am an insane person to be here with the phone, recording myself after midnight with the little owl and really enjoying it. They would not get it. In the same way that I don't fully get some parts of their hobbies either, but that's okay. That is fine. But yeah, as I said, this has been a nice experience, and I'm really glad. If it never happens again, I'm really glad it happened once, because I have a new appreciation for them now. They are without any doubt, and I'm not saying that because it's our last night here together, but without any doubt, they're probably the most adorable chick that I've reared, and I've reared a lot of chicks between owls and other species of birds and that in my time. But there's just something, I don't know, I can't describe it. It's they have a uniqueness, and I can really understand now the allure that I silently had for the adult, and the curiosity that I had about them. I was fascinated by them. Even when I was a child, I was fascinated by them. I remember trying to draw them as a kid for a project when I was in like senior infants or something, or not senior infants, but first class or something like that. That's as far back as I can remember having that fascination with that beauty that they have. So yeah, so as I said, this is our last night. This is a bird that will go to a bird of prey centre, or is, and it's a bird that will live a very different life to a bird in the wild. Um, People have varying opinions about that. I am of the opinion, I think it is a fantastic experience, and I'm really, really glad that we have so many wonderful bird of prey centres around Ireland and the UK and around the continent and different parts of the world. I think it's a wonderful experience for the public at large to be able to visit display centres, trained falconers, to be able to go on hawk walks, and all these activities are associated with birds of prey now in the 21st century. Because I think it's a great chance for the public to experience up close and personal just the majesty of these birds. And I suppose the great thing about the centres is that the birds live a very, very safe life. I don't think their quality of life is dramatically altered to the point that some protest around. I don't agree with that. Any centres that I've met and people that I've met through falconry, they have such an appreciation and love of what they do. And, I suppose statistically we've seen that birds who live in a safe, controlled environment live out many, many years of stress-free, contented lives. There is nothing to suggest that this little bird is distressed or unhappy. I suppose you could argue that he doesn't know any different because he's been with me from the beginning. But he's reaching all his milestones in exactly the same way. And I hope that he will live out a long life. And actually, what I hope more than anything, I hope that he will bring a lot of joy and pleasure to people that may encounter him and experience him in the future. And the same with the female when she's ready to go, and she's just not ready to go yet. And because that's what I want more than anything, is that someday some child or adult will come along and have this little bird on their hand, and just for a few minutes they might escape the troubles that they may experience in the world, and they feel this reconnection with nature and maybe with themselves, and that to me speaks volumes. And yeah, that's what this is all about. I have great admiration for people that work in the falconry centres and the bird of prey centres, because their dedication is just incredible, and the work that they do with the public is just incredible. I'm not a falconer, and I never endorse myself as having any kind of great particular skills in the area. I just love nature, and so I'm your ordinary Joe Soap, as they say, but what I have and the few birds that I have, and I absolutely love it. So that is, just look at how affectionate this little fella is. My God, it's kind of, I kind of will miss him, actually. Yeah, I will for one. And I suppose there comes a time that we all have to let go. So yeah, look at, as I said, I know I've gone on and on for the last couple of weeks. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing them grow and change and being born, and become just these remarkable little creatures in front of our eyes. And whereas I didn't mean to kind of hog up the forum, I just wanted to share it with you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And so yeah, so there he is, and we wish him the best in the future. Okay, take care.